this video, we're going to be counting unit cubes in solid figures to determine volume. So we're starting our unit on volume, and it's really important to remember that volume is the space inside of a 3D figure. So if I draw my square and I turn it into a cube, the volume is the space inside of my cube. And one way to find volume is to pretend that we're filling this cube up with unit cubes. Now, unit cubes are the really tiny little cubes. Typically, they're green or yellow in your classroom, and they're 1 centimeter or 1 unit by 1 unit. So if we're going to find the volume, we can pack this full of unit cubes. And as long as we pack it to where they don't overlap and they fill the space completely, then we can find the volume. So today we're going to practice counting unit cubes. And I know that sounds super easy, but you also have to count the cubes you can't see. So let's go ahead and dive into this very first one here on the left. So as you can see the top layer, and we can see this front layer, and we can see the side layer. But in order for the ones up top to be held up, there has to be layers underneath those. So we're going to practice today counting by assuming what is underneath them. So first things first, let's count the top layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. If there's 18 unit cubes on this top layer, then I know there also has to be 18 on this layer. And there also has to be 18 on this layer. Because as you can see, it's like a layer cake. It's 3 layers high. And each layer has 18 cubes in it. So in order to find out how many cubes we have total, we're going to multiply 18 times 1, 2, 3, because there are 3 layers. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So I know there are 54 cubic units in here. So cubic means volume. So cubic units, or we could write it as 54 units cubed. Just like when we say area, like if you were to say 3 by 4, you would say 12 inches squared. This is 54 units cubed because it's the volume. We're going to practice a lot more with that. So if it sounds a little confusing, that's totally fine. All right, let's look at this next one. For this next one, let's count it like vertical slices. So there's 1 vertical slice here, 2, 3, 4 vertical slices. How many cubes are in each vertical slice? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 cubes on this slice, 12 cubes on this slice, 12 here, and 12 here. So if there are 4 slices with 12 cubes in each slice, we're going to multiply 12 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. That gives us 48 units cubed. 48 units cubed. Remember that unit is the unit cube. Each of those boxes is considered a unit. And again, we're pretending that there's an entire big box around this box of boxes and that we're measuring the volume of the entire box. That's how we're preparing. Today we're starting out just by counting. This next one is going to ask us to compare these 2 prisms or boxes of boxes. So we're going to compare these 2. Let's start with the one right here on the left. Let's count it in slices. We've got 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know there are 15 slices on each piece. So there's 15 there, 15 there, and 15 there. Remember, even though I can't see the ones in the back left corner, I know they have to be there because the ones up top aren't floating. There has to be something underneath it. So 15, 15, and 15. I know that if I multiply 15 times 3, 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to get 45. So this one is 45 units cubed. Let's look at our next one. Let's count it in slices again. I see I've got 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. And I know if I multiply that 3 times 3, I'm going to get 9. And I know if I have 9 across that very first slice, I'm going to have 9 here, 9 here, 9 here, and 9 here. So that's 9 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that 9 times 5 is 45. So this one is also 45 units cubed. So they would be equal. Even though they don't look the same, they are equal. There are 45 tiny little unit cubes in both of those. Let's do a little experiment. I wonder how many unit cubes I could actually see and count. I'm going to take a pink highlighter. We're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I can only see 24 cubes. This is where it gets complicated because all the ones back behind those are the ones that I'm actually counting. I guess I can see 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So many cubes back in there. We're going to have to use multiplication every time to find them. Next is this last one. Next is this one. Go ahead and try this one on your own. For this one, I hope you counted either the front or the top. I'm going to count the front. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2. So there's 14 on this very first row. So I'm going to say 14 on this row. And then this row's got 14. And this row's got 14. And this row's got 14. And this row's got 14. So that would give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So this would be 70 units cubed. Again, if you did not get 70 units cubed, you had a couple of options. You could have counted the front like I did, or you could have counted the top and multiplied that by 2. I did 14 times 5. You could have also counted this side and said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10 times 7 rows would get you 70 as well. There are usually 2 to 3 different ways to count them. It just depends on what you see best. All right. Now is where we get a little confusing. All right. We've got word problems. What if a rectangular prism had a base that was 6 square units? So the base is 6 square units. So I'm going to say there is 6 square. No, that would be 9. Hold on. There's 6 square units and a height of 2 units. So it would go up and there would be another layer of 6 square units. What would the volume be? So take a look at what I've drawn. My drawing is very messy here. The base is 6 square units. Just like the base was up here, it was 35 units. There's a second layer on top of that base because the height is 2 units. So the second layer on top of the base is going to be exactly the same. So if the base was 6 and the layer on top of that is 6, then I know 6 times 2 is 12 units cubed. This is going to be a lot easier once you know the actual volume for a formula, although I bet you could figure it out looking at our answer. But for right now, we're going to go with counting. Look at this last one. What if a rectangular prism was 4 units long, 3 units high, and 5 units wide? What would its volume be? All right, so if it's 3 units long and 5 units wide. So, wow, this is going to be a big one. So there's, I broke it into 4 units, and now we need 5 units. So there's my base, 4 units long and 5 units wide. But it's 3 units high. So this is my base, but I'm going to need 3 layers. So my base times 3. All right, so now let's see how big the base is. 4 times 5 is 20, so the base is 20. That means there'd be another layer of 20 and another layer of 20. Be 20, 40, 60 units cubed. Remember, geometry is easier and harder for different people. Some people can visualize things like this in their brain, and some people can't, and that is totally fine. If you need to get out unit cubes to see it in your brain, that's totally fine. And also, we're going to practice with using the traditional algorithm and formula tomorrow, so that'll be easier as well. Make sure you have your notes recorded. Everything is done correctly. Be sure to rewind or pause if you have any questions or ask your teacher.